Last week I focused on roller coasters that I wish I got to ride but didn't. But this week I want to focus on defunct roller coasters that I did get to ride. Now, I haven't been a coaster enthusiast for too long compared to some people, but I've been a coaster enthusiast long enough to rack up around 30 defunct roller coaster credits, and I wanted to rank the top 10. If you didn't get to ride any of these rides, or you didn't get to ride all of them, maybe I can fill you in on how these rides were. I'm returning the favor to you by telling you stories about how these rides ran. Coming in at number 10, we have Switchback at ZDT's amusement park. A while ago, we did notice that Switchback was up for sale while it was still operating, but it seems like Switchback is done for. It's closed. And there's a lot of speculation on where this could end up. People are saying this thing could get sent to Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, which would be really cool. Seguin isn't too far away from San Antonio, so it's not that big of a move. They were offering a pass for like maybe $20 that let us ride Switchback as many times as we wanted. And that's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, as fun as this ride is, it wasn't exactly the smoothest ride out there. I feel like it was tolerable. I like my wooden coasters to have a little bit of bite to them, and this one had a little bit more than that comfortable threshold, I would say. Maybe one day this thing will get relocated and go to another park and live for 20 more years or something. If not, it's probably just going to end up as firewood, but either way, it was nice while it lasted. Number 9 is Superman Escape from Krypton, formerly at Six Flags Magic Mountain. For its last few years of operation, it was barely open, and I was lucky to ride it. While this ride was really cool, you're not really missing much if you didn't ride it. The whole point of this ride was just to get the train to 100 miles per hour and get it to also break the height and speed record at the same time. What's the easiest way to do that? Let's put a very long section of straight track, launch the train, send it up a 400-foot spike, and then that's it. However, there is one thing that you did miss, and those who know, standing underneath this ride when it was launching, you might go deaf. If you have sensitive ears, standing under this thing while it was running was not a good idea. You could hear this thing throughout the entire park. If you want to get a similar experience to this, I don't know, go ride Top Thrill 2 or something. That backward spike is almost comparable. It's almost, not quite, but almost. Number 8, we have an entry from Six Flags America, the recently closed WildOne. This ride has a little bit of an unfortunate past for me because for the longest time I've been coming to this park and I just skipped WildOne because I didn't get a good ride on it the very first time, and I just assumed that this ride was bad. And honestly, it sucks to say this, but it didn't take me until like the last month of this thing being open to finally appreciate the ride and come around to it. The ride was packed with insane laterals on that final helix, and that was probably one of my favorite parts of the ride. So it's going to be missed by a lot of people, and there's even petitions out there to save it. Everyone wants this ride saved. Are they going to do it? I mean, not unless Kevin Durant can figure out how to incorporate this into his grand plan. Otherwise, this thing it's done. Number 7, we have another Six Flags America entry with Joker's Jinx. Honestly, this was my favorite of the Premier Ride My favorite of the Premier Ride Spaghetti Bowl launch coasters. I don't know exactly why the one at Kings Island in particular sucks. Maybe I just got a bad ride on it, but it was just not good. The closest thing you're going to get now to Joker's Jinx is Poltergeist at Fiesta, Texas, which is also a very good ride. My favorite part about this ride, to be honest, was the fact that it ran without trim, so as it picked up speed winding down to the ground, it would just get faster and faster and faster, and then leading into that corkscrew finale. It was a great ride, and for Six Flags America, it was something that I would ride every single time I went, when it was open, of course. Number 6 is Batwing at, of course, Six Flags America. Are you really surprised to see this many Six Flags America coasters on a list like this? Batwing was my favorite of the Vekoma Flying Dutchman models, and I can't say I've been on all of them. I've only been on 2 out of the 3. Batwing was the only Vekoma Flying Dutchman that was manufactured that did not get relocated, so it has that going for it. The other 2 were, so maybe that assembly and disassembly and reassembly process made the track rough or something. Honestly, Batwing ran better than some B&Ms do now. I actually liked Batwing more than the B&M flyer clones like Superman. The layout for Batwing was more dynamic because unlike the Superman clones that you can find at Six Flags parks, this one actually had stuff. It did tricks. You know, with the Superman clones, you have the pretzel loop and then it kind of just meanders to the brake run. This thing did a lot more than that. Did it break down a lot? Yeah, it broke down all the time. Was it a good ride? Absolutely. The loop was fantastic. The helix was fantastic. And then the finale was fantastic as well. Everything was so well executed with this ride. Number 5 is Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket at Universal Studios. This ride is incredibly underrated. This ride, it ranks highly in my top 50. A lot of people seem to hate this ride, or hated it, past tense, because of the large and obscene amount of brake runs. This thing had so many brake runs. It was absolutely insane. You would do one element, you'd pop into a brake run. You do one singular element, pop into another brake run, a turn, another brake run. Something that people don't talk about too much. The brake runs had airtime. They figured out how to make brake runs exciting. You would get good, almost ejector airtime popping into the brake run. And then if you were sitting in the back, you would get even more airtime leaving the brake run. I really like this ride because you can pick your own music and you can jam out. I have heard from other people that there used to be a lot more song offerings on this ride before, it closed down. I found that Sandstorm was a really good pick for this ride as well. Not only is the music selection good, or should I say was good, the brake runs do offer really good airtime. The ride overall was pretty intense. You would get positives here and everywhere. It looked good at night. My only complaint was that it was a little rough, but it wasn't that rough. I feel like some people are over-exaggerating how rough this ride was. Number 4 is Superman, Ride of Steel, formerly located at Six Flags America. I swear this is the final Six Flags America coaster on this list, but it deserves a spot. It had a really weird layout. Yes, the straight track, what's up with that? But you can't ignore the fact that this was a hyper coaster made by Intamin that did have some good airtime. This one was a breath of fresh air for me, because this is such a weird and zany and just odd layout on a hyper. I guess you can say the one at Darien Lake is not the clone and the one at America is the clone.
Or stay here forever. I'm the clone.
What you really got to appreciate for this ride is the phenomenal first drop that definitely did give airtime. That first turn after the drop giving some pretty good positives, and then you pop up into a massive sustained floater hill that gave at least 3 to 4 seconds of nice floater airtime that we all love. We all love it. Number 3 is taking home the bronze medal today with a really iconic coaster from King's Dominion. We have Volcano. This is another roller coaster on this list that I was incredibly, and I mean incredibly, lucky to ride. My family and I decided to take a 2-day trip to King's Dominion. I didn't even know Volcano was at that park because I wasn't like a big coaster enthusiast by then. I liked roller coasters, but I didn't know where they all were or the history of them and anything like that. We unknowingly went to King's Dominion on Volcano's last season of operation. Holy Lord, the line. This thing had like a 2-hour line, and from what I hear from people who have ridden this as well, it's always had a line. This was always the most popular ride at King's Dominion. This ride was where it's at. Overall, I will say, objectively, this ride had a weak layout. Objectively. But subjectively, this ride kicked so much ass. Just over the midway, you see people shoot out of a volcano and just start flying around above your head. I really wish this ride didn't have to close. The rest of the layout after you get launched out of the volcano is basically just meandering around a volcano, doing some heartline rolls, and then you're done. But the launch 1, you get shoved into the back of your seat, and all that wind in your face as you're turning around there to go into the second launch to blast you out of the volcano. That was sick. I miss it. Every time I go to King's Dominion, I'm wishing it were still there, honestly. Yes, Rapterra is a great replacement. Objectively, Rapterra has a better layout than Volcano did. But I enjoyed Volcano a hell of a lot more, I'll tell you that. Number 2, King Ka. It held that height record until it closed and was ultimately blown up. What a fitting end for a king. When the closing date was rumored, mind you rumored because they didn't even announce that it was closing, once we had detailed insiders giving out these reports saying the ride is closing and it's probably a good idea to check it out now, that's when I feel like people cared about it. On its last day of operation, this thing had a 3-hour line, maybe even more. I wouldn't know. I abused the Flash Pass over and over and over and over again. By the end of it, I had 27 rides on King Ka, and I was walking out of that thing with basically medical injuries. I was like walking out with bruised everything, a headache so bad that you would need a whole bottle of Excedrin to quell it. but it was totally worth it. You really had to be there on King Dekal's final day of operation to really understand how insane it was, and I wish I had videos of this. You could tell everyone there was upset, but in spite of that, they were having a great time. They were having the time of their lives. Behind those happy faces and cheering "Long live the King," there were sad souls. They were all sad that this ride would never operate again, and I don't blame them, because this launch alone was one of the best launches I've ever experienced, hands down. It is so sustained and it is so powerful. It was such an incredible experience, especially front row having your face ripped off. Number 1 is Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. I did enjoy Top Thrill Dragster more than King Dekal for the very simple reason of it being smoother and having lap bars. When you were at the top of Top Thrill Dragster, you could see the lake, the nice views of the Great Lakes. It was a really good experience. I feel like the launch on Top Thrill Dragster was slightly more intense than King Dekal's launch. Although, you can technically still ride Top Thrill Dragster. It's just a completely different experience now with that back spike. So just be grateful you still have your Stratocoaster, because we got ours blown up. But again, the point of this ride was to get you to a really fast speed, really quickly, and get you as high as possible. Like last time I made a video like this, ranking coasters I wish I got to ride but didn't, I got some pretty interesting comments about stories of other people riding the ride. So if you have any stories about riding any of these rides, let me know. Did you disagree with something? Did something I say not align with your experience? Also, if you have some different rides that you got to ride that are now defunct that you really miss, let me know. I like hearing about this stuff. It's cool. I like reading this. But yeah, that's going to do it for this week's little ranking here. I just wanted to do the other side of the coin, but that's all I got for this week.